In this video, we will discuss the shocking events that took place in Germany in 2016, the case of Maria Ladenburger, a 19-year-old student whose tragic fate sparked nationwide outrage. Her murder not only raised concerns about the effectiveness of local law enforcement, but also fueled debates about the broader policies of the German government. Maria Ladenburger was born on December 6, 1996, to Clemens and Friederike Ladenburger. Both of her parents were lawyers, and her father held a high-ranking position within the European Union. In 2016, Maria was a medical student at the University of Freiburg. Alongside her studies, she volunteered at a local center providing aid to immigrants. On the night of October 15, 2016, Maria attended a party hosted by the medical faculty. She spent the evening enjoying time with friends, and by 2:30 a.m., she decided to head home. Her dormitory was located about 3 miles from the university. At 2:37 a.m., she was seen riding her bicycle toward campus. At 8:20 a.m. that same morning, a jogger running along the Dreisam River made a horrifying discovery: a woman's body near the riverbank. Emergency services arrived swiftly, but there was nothing they could do. The victim was identified as Maria Ladenburger. She had never made it home. A forensic examination determined that Maria had drowned, but there were additional disturbing findings. Someone had attempted to strangle her with a scarf, which was left at the crime scene. Authorities recovered male DNA from the scarf, likely belonging to the perpetrator. Further evidence surfaced when police discovered strands of black hair with bleached ends, about 7 inches long, near the crime scene. The hair contained intact roots, allowing investigators to extract a second DNA sample, which matched the one found on the scarf. However, when cross-referenced with police databases, there was no match, leaving authorities without a suspect. On November 8th, the police announced a €6,000 reward for information. Contributions from concerned citizens quickly increased the reward to €35,000. Investigators questioned over 1,000 people, including those who attended the party that night, and over 100 individuals voluntarily provided DNA samples for comparison. Yet, none matched the DNA from the crime scene. The residents of Freiburg were deeply unsettled by the crime. The city's supply of pepper spray quickly sold out as women feared for their safety. Reports of harassment also surged, with multiple incidents occurring in the same area before and after Maria's murder. In response, self-defense classes saw a dramatic increase in demand, and authorities deployed 25 additional officers to patrol the city. Freiburg's mayor Dieter Salomon acknowledged the growing unease, stating, "We cannot tolerate this situation." While 25 extra officers seemed like a small measure, it signaled a shift in the city's approach to crime and security. As police pursued all possible leads, the case took unexpected turns. But would they be able to find Maria's killer before more lives were at risk? Stay tuned as we uncover how this case unfolded and the shocking truth behind Maria Ladenburger's murder. The investigation had several leads, but the decisive breakthrough in identifying the perpetrator came from a crucial piece of evidence: a hair and a scarf found at the crime scene. The authorities knew they were searching for a man with long black hair and bleached ends. With this in mind, they meticulously analyzed footage from various city surveillance cameras. Their efforts paid off when they reviewed recordings from a city tram. The footage showed a man with a similar hair color and length, featuring an undercut, short on the sides and back, with longer hair on top. The timestamp on the video placed the suspect on the tram on the night of October 16th at 7 a.m., just 40 minutes before Maria left the party. He had boarded the tram near the university and disembarked 20 minutes later at the final stop, less than a mile from where a jogger would later discover Maria's body. As the police examined the footage further, they noticed that while on the tram, the suspect had been harassing 2 young women. Fortunately, they managed to evade his unwanted attention. Nearly 7 weeks after Maria's murder, on December 3, 2016, authorities arrested 17-year-old Hussein Khavari. Initially, he was believed to be an immigrant from Afghanistan. However, as the investigation progressed, startling details emerged. Not only was he older than he had claimed, but he was also not Afghan. Khavari had entered Germany in November 2015 without any identification documents. At the border, he stated that he was from Afghanistan and had been born in 1999, making him 16 years old at the time. Lacking any paperwork to verify or disprove his claim, German authorities granted him asylum as an unaccompanied minor. He was placed with a foster family in a picturesque town near the Black Forest, where he attended a local school, learned German, and received government benefits. This type of age falsification had become a common tactic among asylum seekers. At the time, it not only increased the chances of being granted refugee status, but also provided legal advantages, especially in criminal cases where juvenile offenders face significantly lighter sentences. However, Khavari's deception was only the tip of the iceberg. Following his arrest, his image quickly spread across the media. While German outlets attempted to blur his face, newspapers and TV channels in other European countries did not. One of those who saw his unedited photo was Greek lawyer Maria Ladenburger. She immediately recognized him. Nikopoulou had defended him in court in the spring of 2013 when he was charged and convicted of a brutal, life-threatening attack on a young student on the Greek island of Corfu. Khavari had robbed a 20-year-old woman before throwing her off a cliff. Miraculously, she survived, landing in dense bushes 25 feet below. She spent 17 days in the hospital and underwent 3 surgeries. Following the attack, Khavari was arrested, but the story didn't end there. When the victim regained consciousness, she identified Hussein Khavari as her attacker. However, Khavari himself seemed unaware of the reason for his arrest, dismissively stating she was just a woman when questioned by the police. The court sentenced the young asylum seeker to 10 years in prison for theft and attempted murder. What's crucial here is that during his trial, Khavari claimed he was from Iran and born in 1996. However, when he first entered Germany, he reported his birth year as 1999. This raises an important question. How did Hussein Khavari arrive in Germany in 2015 if he had already been sentenced to 10 years in prison in Greece in 2014? The answer lies in Greece's overcrowded prison system. Khavari was released on parole in October 2015 due to lack of space. He violated the conditions of his release by failing to report to the police as required, showing up only once before disappearing. He was placed on Greece's wanted list, but since the warrant was only valid within Greece, he was able to cross borders freely. At the time, European borders were open, and Khavari, along with thousands of other refugees, made his way to Germany. Once there, he falsified his age to pose as an unaccompanied minor seeking asylum. After his arrest in connection with Maria Ladenburger's case, German authorities compared his fingerprints with those found at a crime scene in Greece. The match confirmed that he was the same individual responsible for attacking a woman in Corfu. Germany was outraged upon discovering that Greece had never issued an international alert for Khavari through Interpol. If they had, he would have been flagged at the border and stopped by German authorities. Germany's Federal Minister of the Interior, Thomas de Maizière, called this oversight gross negligence and demanded answers from Greek officials. If we had received information from Greece, the suspect would have been caught at the border, he stated. While German and Greek authorities debated over the failure in communication, frustration grew among German citizens, particularly in Freiburg, where the crime occurred. Many residents demanded stricter immigration controls. Freiburg's mayor, Dieter Salomon, urged the public not to generalize Khavari's case as an argument against immigration policies, suggesting it should be treated as an isolated incident. Meanwhile, the right-wing Alternative for Germany, AfD, party labeled Maria Ladenburger a victim of Angela Merkel's open-door refugee policy. Unfortunately, Maria's case was not an exception. On December 27, 2017, in Kandel, a 15-year-old Afghan refugee named Abdul D. attacked his classmate, 15-year-old Mia Valentine, in broad daylight. The reason? Mia had ended their relationship. She later died in the hospital from her injuries. Mia's parents doubted Abdul's claimed age and demanded an investigation. Forensic examinations, including X-rays of his collarbone and teeth, determined that he was at least 17 years old, likely closer to 20. However, he was still tried as a minor, meaning the maximum sentence he could receive was 10 years. On September 3, 2018, he was sentenced to 8.5 years in prison, a verdict that enraged Mia's family and the public. A similar case occurred on March 12, 2018, when another Afghan refugee, Ahmad, attacked his ex-girlfriend, 17-year-old Maria Bold, in her apartment in Freiburg. The two had dated for 2 years, but when Ahmad became controlling, Maria broke up with him and started seeing someone else. In retaliation, Ahmad stabbed her 14 times, killing her. Ahmad initially claimed to be 17 years old, hoping to receive a lighter sentence. However, forensic analysis determined he was actually around 29. As a result, he was tried as an adult and sentenced to life imprisonment. Under German law, even life sentences allow for the possibility of parole after 15 years. Authorities stressed that violent crimes were not exclusive to refugees and cautioned against using these cases to stoke anti-immigrant sentiment. However, public outrage continued to mount. Maria Ladenburger's parents, Friederike and Clemens Ladenburger, chose not to engage in heated political debates. Instead, they established the Maria Ladenburger Foundation in her memory. Their goal was to support students at the University of Freiburg who faced financial hardship, including refugee students. Their foundation later received a €20,000 civic award from the German Newspaper Publishers Association. Maria's father, Clemens, stated, "We don't want acts of hatred or cold-blooded contempt in our society to breed more hatred and incitement. Otherwise, we risk a destructive spiral that threatens the very fabric of our coexistence." While they refrained from making public statements about their faith, they viewed the foundation as a way to honor Maria's life beyond the tragedy of her death. When our world was plunged into darkness, pain, and confusion, we found a deep sense of gratitude for the gift that was Maria, said Friederike Ladenburger. This gratitude helps us prevent despair from taking hold. Now, returning to Maria's case, aside from DNA evidence, police had another critical piece of proof: Hussein Khavari's confession. The trial began in September 2017. Khavari admitted to assaulting Maria and taking her life. He also confessed to lying about his age, though he refused to disclose his real birth year. The only detail he confirmed was that he was legally an adult. A forensic dentist testified under oath that Khavari was likely between 22 and 29 years old. 8 months before attacking Maria, Khavari had undergone a dental procedure in which one of his teeth was extracted. He had kept the tooth as a souvenir, and during a search of his apartment, police found it. By analyzing the annual rings in the tooth's root, the forensic dentist was able to determine Khavari's approximate age, further confirming his deception. The method is considered safe and provides accurate results. For example, X-ray examinations of wrist bones, often used to determine age, are relatively imprecise. Therefore, Senior Prosecutor Ert Barrer emphasized the importance of the dental examination as crucial evidence in establishing the defendant's age. Khavari claimed his father had died years ago in Afghanistan. However, the police confirmed that his father was alive and living in Iran. The court gained a clearer understanding of Khavari's age after the prosecutor contacted his father by phone. According to him, his son was born in Iran on January 29, 1984, making him 32 years old at the time of Maria's death. As a result, Khavari was tried as an adult. During the trial, he admitted that just hours before the attack, he and his friends had consumed large amounts of alcohol and taken prohibited substances. After partying, he boarded a tram and traveled to the area where he later attacked Maria. In her spare time, Maria worked part-time at the Immigrant Assistance Center in Freiburg, helping those in difficult situations. By a cruel twist of fate, she lost her life at the hands of one of the people she was trying to help. The crime sparked public outrage and disgust, with social media users posting sarcastic thank you messages to Chancellor Angela Merkel, criticizing her liberal immigration policies that brought over 1 million refugees and immigrants to Germany. During the trial, prosecutor Ert Barrer reminded the 2 jurors, alongside 3 judges, that they were judging a criminal offender, not Germany's refugee policy. Khavari sobbed in court as he read a statement of apology to Maria's family. "I beg your pardon. I want to apologize to Maria's family. I wish I could undo what I have done. I am deeply sorry, and the torment of my actions destroys me day by day," he said. In court, Hussein Khavari recounted his difficult journey from Iran to Turkey, then to Greece, and finally through Serbia and Slovenia to Germany. He described living in ruins, scavenging for food in Greece, engaging in theft, and abusing alcohol and illegal substances. While in Germany as an underage refugee, he lived with a foster family. He claimed to suffer from psychological issues, nightmares, and frequent insomnia, which he attributed to worries about his homeland. On the night of Maria Ladenburger's murder, he and his friends drank 2 bottles of vodka. Later, he drank beer and wine alone, smoked several cigarettes, and used illegal substances. Afterward, he boarded a tram near the crime scene, where he harassed other female passengers. Upon reaching the final stop, he stole a bicycle but fell off due to intoxication. When he encountered Maria, he pushed her off her bike and covered her mouth as she screamed. He then strangled her with a scarf until she lost consciousness. Noticing her beauty, he decided to take advantage of her vulnerability. He carried Maria into the water, where she drowned. Authorities believed he moved her body to destroy evidence. Khavari, however, claimed he was too intoxicated to control his actions and insisted he never intended for things to end that way. Prosecutors disputed his account, arguing that his actions were premeditated. A psychiatric expert testified that Khavari's remorse was insincere, describing him as having a great and persistent readiness for violence and a high likelihood of reoffending. The expert further noted Khavari's interest in aggressive sexual behavior and his hostility toward women. Additionally, he displayed no genuine remorse or compassion for others. Maria's parents chose not to attend the trial, instead hiring a lawyer to represent their interests. Her father, Clemens Ladenburger, stated, "We wanted justice, objective and fair, without media hype, political statements, or emotional influence on the trial." When asked if they wished to meet their daughter's murderer, he responded, "We left that question open. From the beginning, it was unclear if we would attend. However, upon reflection, we believed Maria would not have wanted us there." Observing the defendant's character and courtroom behavior, we increasingly felt that confronting him would achieve nothing and would not help us. On September 22, 2018, Hussein Khavari was found guilty. Presiding Judge Catherine Schenk condemned his extreme lack of empathy. Before reading the verdict, Khavari sat in handcuffs, wearing a black hooded sweatshirt, as many in the courtroom applauded the ruling. He was sentenced to life imprisonment. According to German law, life sentences allow for the possibility of parole after 15 years if the convict is deemed no longer a threat to society. However, in Khavari's case, the judge noted the extreme severity of his guilt, making early release legally possible but practically unrealistic.